everyone, and welcome to another episode of Not a Secret Agent. My name is Kayla, and today I'm here with
Char Fears.
Yes, and we're going to talk a little bit about new construction, everything like that. So, Miss Char, please tell us what inspired you to start real estate.
Oh, Miss Kayla, thank you so much for having me today. The thing that inspired me was probably me being taken advantage of in the beginning. I was really young. I'm not going to give my age on this stage today, but I was in my 20s, and my husband and I were newlyweds. We were trying to realize the great American dream of ownership. And we rented when we first got married. And so after about a year of renting and our children growing, it was like, okay, you know what? We can't keep doing this. So I was like, we need to buy. And before that, I was sort of reading and doing some, meetups and networking with people that were investing in real estate. They were like in the 90s in Atlanta. There was so many pockets of people like, oh, I'm gonna make it big here in Atlanta, and that's why we migrated here. A lot of us.
Still a lot of people trying to make it big in Atlanta.
Absolutely. So, I thought that I wanted to invest, and then when I realized, you know what, I can make money buying my own property. Got taken advantage of by an unscrupulous broker, took our little bit of money that we had saved and scraped up, and kept it as a retainer fee. And I said, I will never treat anybody in the industry like that. So I quickly realized that my goal for myself and my family was to own real estate and to buy real estate. So that's part of it. It didn't go that easily because I didn't follow suit. I didn't go right into going to real estate school because I fought it for a little while after we bought the first home. And I was working in the hospitality industry at night as an auditor.
Oh.
And then still trying to do the investing thing and figure out the easiest way to get in after we'd bought our first home. We were going to buy another.
Yeah.
And happened to get a job offer on site in new construction from a contact of a friend of a contact that said, hey, Char, I know you're working overnight as an auditor, because I worked from 11 at night till 7 o'clock in the morning auditing for the hotel. And they were just like, your kids, I know that you're tired in the daytime, you have little ones, why don't you just do a day job while they're in school? And I know somebody that needs a 5-day-a-week assistant. And I was like, okay, and does it pay more? And they were like, well, I'll put you in contact. So anyways, I met this agent on site in a new community in DeKalb County. And I walked in and she was just, super professional in my eyes. I was just like, oh, wow, this is kind of cool. It was a new home, fully decorated. And I just got so enthralled with this new part of life that I didn't even know about. I didn't know that people were building and decorating and, having these posh little places to sell out of. And so she gave me the job, and I was working for her for 5 days a week on site as what they would call a hostess now. But I assisted her when she was off site with people coming through to purchase homes. So that was my first introduction. I still wasn't licensed, by the way. I was unlicensed.
Just hosting.
Just hosting.
I just figured out what that was the other day when I walked into a new construction home and saw someone else doing it.
Yep.
So that's fun.
Yeah. So that's how I got introduced to it. It wasn't very long, maybe about 3 weeks in, she started closing houses in the new neighborhood that she had just recently opened. And her first paycheck came across. And so she was sort of nudging me and saying, Char, you need to get your license. And I'm still in the mindset, no, I want to be an investor. I don't want to be tied anywhere. I'm only doing this until I can get there, right? And so she showed me one of her checks for the first closings.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty check for, 30 days of work. And so I'm not going to tell you the amount, but I will tell you that it was 6 figures.
Wow.
Like literally. Well, 5 figures. So, and low 5 figures. And I was just like, this is amazing. Where do I sign up? And she said, go to real estate school,
Yeah.
get your license. This was back in 1999. Yep. And so I did, and she kept me on 3 days a week, so 2 days a week, so that I could go to school 3 days a week.
That was nice.
And she gave me sort of like a referral fee, or which technically, quote unquote, you can't get a referral fee if you're not licensed. But she was sort of paying me under the table to keep me. And I want to venture to say that getting into new construction back then was not really that easy. All of this was serendipitous. It was something that I really wasn't expecting. I knew that I loved real estate. I thought that I would be investing full time in real estate, but it happened that I was blessed to fall into this situation.
Yeah, that worked out.
And so I got my real estate license, and after 6 months of being her assistant and then getting licensed, all within 6 months, I was fully licensed, and then I was given my own community to sell.
Look at that.
Yep.
From who you knew.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
yeah.
Do you still talk to her?
We are all friends still.
That's
A lot of
good.
us. I'm having lunch with one of the 2 or 3 actually of the people that were around during that time. And as a matter of fact, one of the Keller Williams agents that back in the day used to come to the neighborhood, she's going to be a part of that at end of month luncheon that we're going to have together. So we follow each other on social media, of course, but yeah, we're all still kind of doing the real estate thing in some shape, form, or another.
That's good. Relationships business.
Yes,
That's what they say.
relationship is business.
Yes, love that.
And this business and industry is a lot tighter and smaller than you can even imagine.
It really is. I feel like everybody kind of knows each other.
Oh,
It's good to know.
yeah.
I was in the Uber the other day, and I said that I was a Keller Williams agent, and they was like, "Oh, do you know such and such?" And I was like, "I actually do know such." It's a small world.
This is real.
Yeah, but it's good. You gotta meet everybody, know everybody, keep in contact, because you never know what opportunity might present itself. That's
Absolutely.
good.
That's the truth.
So I know everything in real estate is not sunshine and rainbows, pretty checks. So what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced?
Yeah. So when you put it all into perspective, we service and serve people, right? And in that service industry, we all know that we as human beings are fickle.
Yeah.
So it's not always easy juggling one personalities, needs versus wants. So it's really it's like it's a walk. And when you are working with the public and when you're working with individuals, you really have to put on your sociology hat. You have to put on your like mentor hat, and then you have to put on the professional hat. And they all have to coincide and exist in this space when you're working with individuals. And sometimes that's a really happy, fun thing. And then sometimes it can be very, very exhausting. I mean, that is just the truth of the matter. But if you love this and if you love what you do, that pales in comparison to what you're going to get back. It's one of those industries that it is definitely a labor of love. And if you don't love it, and if you don't like people,
Right.
then this is probably not going to be what you're looking to do long term.
I've come across a few people that say, "Oh yeah, I want to be in the real estate. I don't like talking to people though." I'm like, "Well, how you? Oh, okay. How you gonna do that one?"
Right.
But I don't know. But
Right.
speaking about, you have to love everything. What do you love about being in real estate? What do you love about new construction? And tell me more about that.
Yeah. So, going back to stepping into the role for the first time, I was really young. I got my first neighborhood with an on-site partner. And then that became like my everything. It was like I enjoyed it. I loved it. The people coming in, I was able to help them to realize something that maybe they had been working on for 50 years of their lives and they were buying their first home, or brand new like out of college students that wanted to purchase and be a part of the whole ecosystem of homeowners and home ownership. And I would say that that's probably the best feeling. Aside from that, these same people and individuals that become clients over time have become some of my closest friends. The relationships are so intact, and they, the level of service given, it's going to reciprocate in value because they're going to continue to refer people, their friends, their family members to you if you did what you were supposed to do, which was, one, I feel like education is key. Two, customer service. Pick up your phone, real estate agents. Answer your phones. And be accountable. And being accountable has been one of the things that I think has given me longevity in the business, because I'm the first one to say, I messed that up. Let me get that. Let me take care of that for you. Let me make sure that this is made right. So ownership of those sorts of things and those traits, I think, have been part of the reason that I've been able to enjoy, but also to remain in this industry. It's not, one of those industries that people can get into and just take it lightly. I mean, you're all in or you're all out.
Exactly.
So I don't know if I answered the question, but that's what I love about it, is that ability to be able to serve. And again, challenging is you're going to always run into a bump in the road, because you're talking about people's lives, right? The biggest purchase of their lives in a lot of instances. And then any obstacles that could take you off course during the process of helping that person achieve that dream. And you're going to navigate those waters, or you're going to pull your hair out and just go, I'm going to go find a different career at this point. So,
I talk to a lot of agents, and they say, I've been here for such and such amount of time, and I've seen people come in, I've seen people go, I've seen everything. You really got to want to do real estate to do real estate.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I hear that when you started, you had someone help you get started in a sense. So how would someone wanting to get into new construction, where would they start? What steps should they take?
Right. That's a really good question, because things have changed a lot. And when you're going into the new construction industry, most builders want to see some sort of experience. They want to know that you know how to cold call, follow up, that you have a sales experience history within the last year or 2 years in the new construction arena. Because there are different things. I mean, you're more hands-on in new construction, because you're there when, in some instances, when they're making decisions on their color palettes. You're there when they're making decisions on the lot where they're actually going to build their house. Or in this climate that we're in, builders are pre-building. So you're going to be there to help them kind of navigate which house is available and fits their taste and budget. So that would probably be the one thing about new construction. But to get involved, make connections.
Okay.
That part is still very much the same. So go to new construction communities. Go and ask the questions.
Wait for them.
Go to new home communities. Introduce yourself. Make those connections. Make yourself known. Right? And if you are working with customers or not customers, but clients, take them into those neighborhoods, introduce them to new construction, and start building rapport with those agents, right? Just like what we're doing now in general real estate at Keller Williams, it's like, if we have a good experience with an outside agent that's doing the seller side or the buyer side, whichever it is, if they're doing a great job, I'm going to ask them, hey, would you be interested in coming over to Keller Williams, because I really enjoyed working with you on those transactions. It's very much the same way. If you do a good job as an agent working with that new on-site agent, after a while, you build a rapport. And then you can ask the question, how would one go about getting, a position on site? And then you can open up the door that way.
Okay.
You can cold call, and just send your resume out to different builders, right? Because builders are on LinkedIn, they're on a lot of social media platforms, or you can go right to their websites and go to the career page, fill out the information. If you have a sales background, try to get the interview, because then you can sell yourself beyond that. And then there are some builders, a lot of mom and pop smaller builders, that don't necessarily require you to have new construction background, but some sort of like sales history or customer service history. Those are the ones that are more likely to hire someone that maybe doesn't have the experience that maybe a larger builder would require.
Can you tell me a little bit more about hosting and what that is and how you would get into it?
Yeah. So it's very much the same thing. Go onto those builder sites, and that's usually one of the ways that you can kind of come in on an entry level.
Yeah, that's what I was
and
thinking.
then build your way up from there. That's a great point, Kayla, because you can apply for that. Apply for the hostess job. Apply for they actually have virtual agents that are taking calls virtually, and they're monitoring their social media sites. They're monitoring the calls that are coming in, right, virtually. And if you start there, then you could migrate, if that's what you wanted to do, into an on-site role.
Interesting. See, wouldn't even thought about the virtual. I went to new construction a couple of days ago, and I saw someone there, and I was talking to him, and he was even saying that he was with Keller Williams, and they told him that he couldn't do hosting, so he went to a different brokerage.
Now that's the other side of that.
Yes, how does that work?
So that's really good. Most oftentimes, the larger builders have their own real estate companies, right? And so you can't hold your license with two brokerages unless you're a broker and you have, been authorized to do so. So that is the caveat. So if you are licensed, right, you will have to either hang your license with that builder's real estate company, that brokerage, or release your license. There are some builders that they require you to release or put your license on inactive in order to sell for them.
It's always a catch, I see.
It's always a catch. Always a catch.
Does Keller Williams connect with builders? Do we have builders that we connect with?
Yeah, I'm sure that there are some agents that and some teams that might have a builder account. In that instance, those are usually your tiny builders, like your info lot builders that are building homes on sites that are not like developed in a neighborhood, so to speak. So there are some certain agents that's their clientele, are the small, what I like to call pickup truck builders. The builders that are small, they're not like a name brand. They are literally contractors that are building on info lots throughout whatever municipality.
Okay. So I've also heard different things about the compensation with new construction bills. I heard about bonuses and different things like that. How does your compensation work with new construction?
Okay, so if we're speaking from where we sit right now as Keller Williams agents or as realtors on the outside, if we're going in, if the builder is offering a bonus, it works just like any other bonus. And our brokers sort of, and now in light of everything that has happened in the industry, we really don't encourage taking that extra bonus money. Builders really are starting to pull that away. But bonuses, of course, are available based on whatever the builder's offering. So if they're offering the commission, right, and then some sort of incentive or bonus, then those commissions are, of course, paid to the broker first, and then you see your share after whatever your split is. But there are builders that are doing bonuses and commissions. Now, you are talking about like the bonus structure if we're going in and bringing a buyer to them, right? Or are you talking about being on site and how much agents make on site?
The first one.
Okay, great. Just wanted to clarify.
Right. So what are some rookie mistakes that you've seen or that you even made yourself throughout your journey with new construction?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. Oh, gosh. A lot. A
We gotta
lot.
narrow it down a little bit.
Yeah. Pick one. So I'll share with you like one of my rookie mistakes when I first got started. And I cried because I lost this deal and I killed the deal myself.
Oh,
And you know how they say that you can be book smart, but
not street smart.
yeah,
Yeah.
book smart, but just common sense lacking.
Uh-huh.
So in this instance, I was so book smart and was so geeked on everything that I learned in real estate school, which is a good thing. You need to know the law.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about someone across the table from you and actually having common sense on how to navigate situations, I found myself being very bullish in one stance, even though I was representing the builder, it was really unnecessary. And the agent, and I'll tell you what it is, the agent at the time, this was me being very green, sent his buyers over. Well, he probably didn't send them, if you want to know the truth. They came in, they were ready to write the contract, and then all of a sudden this guy parachutes in and he comes in and he was like, hey, I'm their realtor, and we were signing papers, mind you. And so I said, well, they never indicated that they were being represented. This was a flaw. Mistake number one.
Okay.
If a buyer comes in and they start talking with you, the first question is always, are you working with a realtor or a real estate agent? Are you being represented?
Right.
That was my mistake. I did not ask that question. And so as a result, when the buyer's agent came through the door while we were signing documents, I basically said, you're not going to be compensated for this. And he said, excuse me? Rookie mistake. And so he took his buyers, he said, let me have a moment. And he walked them outside and they left. And I lost that transaction. Being too bullish, too green, and not understanding how to read the room and how to understand how to navigate certain things. Because as realtors, even though it was my fault for not asking that initial question, are you being represented, right? They are the consumer. They don't know to tell you, yeah, I'm working with, and then more honest on it being a buyer's representative, we need to educate our buyers. If they are going out into new construction, make sure that you take my card, make sure, that you let me know before you go so that I'm able to reach out and represent and make sure that they understand that you are being represented. So that was my rookie mistake. And when they left, I just dropped my head on the desk and I cried. I cried because I think that that was probably my first or second transaction that I was ever going to do, that I'd ever done at that point. And I beat myself up really bad.
I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think you really could have done anything different because they were represented. You didn't know. I don't think that was really your fault.
They were, but I think that it probably should have been handled in a different way.
What would you have done differently?
I think thinking about it now, I probably would have explained that I'm so sorry. Typically, in order for you to receive compensation, you have to be the procuring cause. I was unaware that your buyers were being represented, and I would have let it go at that. I would have, and we would have continued to finish the contract. Yeah.
Okay.
Think about this. It was still a lost opportunity for my builder.
Yeah.
It was a lost opportunity for me, right? And who knows, that buyer probably really loved the house, and then their agent talked them out of that. And it possibly was because of the way that I chose to handle that situation in the moment. So exercising, I would say, the ability to navigate your room, read your room in a professional manner, probably would have it probably would have changed a lot.
Yeah. So besides letting the buyer know that they need to let you know if they're being represented or not, what else do you wish that you would have known in the beginning that could help someone else now?
That's just one scenario. I think that what a lot of people don't understand is when you're on site, it's work. You know, a lot of people, they think that because you're sitting behind a desk and people are walking through your door that you didn't do the legwork. You still have to be an industry expert. So in the beginning, I got really comfortable because we were in a boom. During the time that I got my first neighborhood, Atlanta was growing exponentially. And it was really easy. People literally walked through the door, and it was a great location, and we were underpriced. So, mixed with those three ingredients mixed together made for a really happy, end of year, gross income.
Yeah.
And for me, that was my introduction, but it was not necessarily the whole reality, right? So when you're baptized that way into this thinking that, oh, this is how it is all the time, you can disservice yourself by not not learning your craft truly, right? Educating yourself, learning how to sell, right? And learning your business and your product. So while I was making all of that money on that side, I was like neglecting the things that would in the future sustain me, and understanding that those are tools that were necessary to maintain that same level of momentum or get close to it, right? So I think that early on, I took it for granted. I thought that everything was just it was going to be low-hanging fruit and pie in the sky, right?
So
And
basically, don't get too comfortable. And
don't get too comfortable. But the bigger thing I think that I learned, and one of my mistakes was just not educating myself and actually learning the craft. So don't get too comfortable, but learn your craft and utilize all of those tools. Like utilize them, put them to work for you.
Okay, we had a couple questions from some audience members. Let's see. How do you explain the tax increase buyers experience a year after they've been in their home?
Ah, that's a good question. So typically what happens in new construction is the lot itself is undeveloped. So the builder, when they purchase that land, when they purchase that lot, it's taxed as an unimproved piece of land, right? Unimproved parcel. It's going to be lower because the cost of that lot was probably $20,000, $25,000 versus an improved lot with a home on it. Now that value is going to increase. So the first year of tax is usually the taxation that was realized because when the tax assessment was done, it was done on raw. Was done.
Ooh, I hope we got everything. What were we talking about? So, when you were saying,
You said whose responsibility?
whose responsibility is it to explain to the lender that you might need that extra, you need to hit the lower?
Yeah, so if you're an informed agent, that's one of those tools. Educate yourself, right? So if you're representing a buyer in that transaction, these are conversations during the consultation that you're going to have, especially if you know that your buyer is only looking at new construction. So if that's all that they're wanting to see, then you need to know some of the caveats. You need to understand that that tax is going to probably be lower when they close that first year because it's going to be based on the taxes that the year that the builder was building the property. Then when the year follows that you've closed on the home, that tax is going to increase because it's now a developed home on that property. So that's definitely the onus is going to be on that agent, the buyer's agent that's representing them. Not necessarily, because as a buyer, would you know that?
Right.
No,
No.
you wouldn't know that, right? It would be the buyer's agent
Okay.
that's representing that buyer, right? Because we should be the industry experts.
So that's something like you talk about in like your buyer presentation when you're having that first consultation with them.
If you know that your buyer is going to be new construction, and it could happen somewhere down the road. Like once they are like getting close to maybe putting an offer in on a property that's new construction, that's your time now. Okay, I want to talk to you about a couple of things that differ from new construction to resale homes, and that's where you start explaining, the differences. And then you might want to have that conversation with the lender if they're pre-qualified for a certain amount, and you just let the lender know they are looking at new construction. The taxes are probably going to vary because the house that they're looking at, the builder is like at 50%, so we know that the taxes are going to be assessed on the land or on the lot and not the property completed. So just so that you know, lender, and some buyers are like, cool, my first year of taxes will be lower. That next year,
Yeah.
I need to plan for it and prepare for it. And it's different, just different perspectives. And how would you like to approach that as a buyer? That's going to be something that you would want to know and talk to your agent about.
Okay. Well, since my camera told me we've been talking too long. So I'm gonna ask my final question that I ask everybody that I interview. What is the best piece of advice that you have received that has helped you become a successful agent?
That's awesome. The best piece of advice that I would say, value your time. That's been great advice throughout. Value who you are, like value you, because you are valuable. You are offering a service. Because oftentimes we come into this industry and we don't understand the level of service that we are bringing to the table. And so we can't excel or develop ourselves in this profession because we don't understand that what we are doing is a true service. So someone once told me that your time is valuable, but what you're bringing to the consumer base is even more valuable.
Yeah.
So understanding that first, and then one other piece of advice is make sure that you understand that this is something that takes time. This is not something that happens overnight.
Yeah.
And if you can live with that, and if you can develop through that, just take the ebbs with the flows. That's it.
All right. Thank you so much for sitting down and having this conversation with me.
So glad you invited me. Thank you, Kayla. This is awesome, and I hope and wish nothing but success, growth, prosperity in all of your endeavors.
Thank you, Char.
I appreciate it.
I love Char, y'all. So
I love Kayla more.
So tell them where they can find you. Shout out your socials and everything.
Actually, you can find me at IG at Char_Fears. It's just that. I'm on LinkedIn as Char Fears, and on Facebook as Char Fears.
Char Fears everywhere. Okay, thank you so much. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what topics you want to hear next. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Thank you, guys.